Hi everyone, Rebecca here for Lottie Loves Paper. I am still using the gorgeous You Are My Sunshine collection by Blvd. And I loved this paper from the collection. This is the Shine Bright paper, which has this beautiful sort of rainbow stripe on one side, and the other is a small ditzy blue background with a small floral print. So I decided to make a feature of this rainbow striped side, and I've decided to cut each of the strips apart just using my paper trimmer, and I'm going to punch the edges of each strip. So I've decided to use this scallop edge punch to punch along one side of each of those strips of paper. My craft mat looks so messy in this video. And I suppose I'm quite a messy crafter, and I love mixed media, so it does get on my mat. I've actually been trying to keep that nice and clean as well. It's quite a new mat, I only got it this year, so yeah, it's pretty grubby. So when punching, using my punch, it's created obviously the scalloped edge on those strips on the left, and it's also created that sort of wave edge on the sort of waist strips. But I thought they looked quite cool, so I have kept them in case I use those for another project. So I'm now machine stitching through each of those colourful strips, and I've used a different stitch setting for each colour, just using a different setting on my machine. So I'd created a little sunburst background just using a stencil and some distress oxide inks. I actually have stenciled a little bit too far over to the left, and so when I place my colourful strips on top of that, you kind of almost lose all of that sunburst effect. So I do it again on a different piece of paper and doing it further over to the right, but it is so pretty. I will keep that, and I will use that on a different layout because I do love it. So my aim is to create lots of texture in the background with these strips, so I will be overlapping them on top of each other. Obviously the stitching adds extra texture. I've got my phone out there to reference the order that those colours go in. So I'm ending up using 2 little strips of each colour together and reconstructed back into the order that they're in on that original piece of paper. So I wanted to give that a bit of stability, so I've just stuck it down to just a piece of scrap cardstock behind it, and I will then go through and distress all of those scallops, or several of those scallops, with my little paper distresser. Ideally I should have done that before I stuck them together because it was quite tricky, and also I've added a little bit of 3D foam, adhesive foam, just under some of those scalloped edges. Again, I should have done that before I stuck them together, but I kind of hadn't planned that far in my mind. So yeah, I'm just going around the sort of sharp corners of each of those strips and distressing them all. I want them all to look really well weathered and I just want lots and lots of texture from that background piece. So now I'm just redoing that sunburst background with some Distress Oxide ink brushed through a Bramble Fox sunburst stencil. And now once I've placed my background piece on the page, I'm just going to sew some strips over the top again through both the background piece and the white cardstock, again just for some added texture, and it also just helps that background piece to just stay stuck to the page. So when I saw this pattern paper, it reminded me of this photograph, which is just one of those big giant chairs that you get in lots of places. Yeah, the sort of rainbow stripes reminded me of that photo, and I wanted to use it to scrap it. So I've printed that, and I will be putting that down sort of on the bottom left area of my arrangement to balance out that sun, which is obviously up in the sort of top right hand corner. I wanted a burst of colour down in that bottom left to balance it out. My title is from the Doohickey cardstock stickers from Lottie Loves Paper, and my title is My Favourite Colour is Rainbow, which I just think is such a cute saying, and it's perfect for obviously the paper and my photo. So where I'd created lots of dimension and texture in the background with my colourful rainbow strips, some of my cardstock words, my letters, just weren't sitting flush on the page. So I've popped a little bit of glue under some of those, and I popped my stapler on top just to give it a bit of weight to get them stuck down straight onto the page. And I used my T-square to make sure that they were all nice and straight. I've then gone around just embellishing. I obviously had to have a rainbow on there, having referenced a rainbow in my title, and I wanted to just embellish in colour blocks. So I've just put green embellishments over where there's a green colour strip and so on. Initially I was going to add colour strips of paper to the top and bottom, but I actually really liked the crisp white against all those colours, so I decided not to do that, and I've just gone around adding a few little bits of embellishments. Is pretty much it for this layout. Thank you so much for watching this process video. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please do click on that subscribe button. It means the world to me to have your support. And here are some close-ups now of this layout. See you next time.